Welcome back guys. Today I'm gonna show you a T6 exotic Cerb fitting, and the fitting is pretty cheap with 1 billion investment and another billion in a pot. I'm gonna show you it in a bit. The fitting itself uses Tech 2 Vault ballistic control systems and has a Pithum C type invo plus a Pit X type large shield booster. It does 840 DPS and is 35% cap stable. We have to put our shield booster in nude waves, but that's no issue at all. The pod itself is a mid-grade crystal pod with application implants and a rapid launch implant and a slot 7 maximum velocity bonus implant. But if you mainly do Abyssal sides with the pod, I would recommend going for a heavy assault damage implant on slot 7 instead of the missile range implant. And yeah, that's everything about the fitting, and now you're gonna see me flying the sides. Okay, now you see me enter the side. I popped a crash booster earlier and didn't have any penalty, so I'm ready to go into the side. We only care about the shield booster penalty, everything else on the crash booster is not relevant. If the shield booster penalty hits, you have to clone jump and take another truck. Here it's a pretty nasty wave with nearly every red being a neutralizing red. But yeah, after my first mistake waiting for the sentinels to burn in, I realized it and switched to the null charges. The video is speeded up a bit here, because I don't wanna show you 20 minutes of me grinding down reds. While I'm shooting the reds, I shoot the caches with my drones and my MTU is scooping it, so I can get the maximum out of these sides. And yeah, the reds will die here really quickly, and you see me struggle on cap in a bit. That's why I'm pulsing my shield booster. And here I'm activating my assault damage control to have like a bit extra time before I have to activate my shield booster again. I'm very low on cap now, and I'm heating my invo, having my shield booster ready, heated also, and heating my guns to kill the neuting reds quicker. And after the last red died, I am pretty safe again with cap, still only pulsing my shield booster. But as you can see, I'm in a pretty safe state now, not a lot of DPS coming in, and the cap is reaching as well. Scooped MTU started good with 20 million in it. And now I'm approaching the bioadaptive while I'm shooting the reds. I'm not applying fully on the reds now because I can't apply my web to them, but I don't care about it because I still traveling to the gate, and I'm just using my drones to kill the caches. Some legs, I don't know where they came from. And here I'm greedy for the loot. 30 million in the cache, a bit, or not too much to be honest. I don't know why T6 sites have sometimes these caches. But yeah, the last red dies. I'm reloading my missiles and decycling my shield booster to regen some cap while I'm jumping. And here we have the same wave again, just some sentinels, but luckily not that many neuting ships. Same thing here. There's only one cache, so I'm deploying my MTU, having my drones on it and shooting the reds in a bit. I don't use my drones offensively because they only do 50 DPS. and I think they're more valuable as a loot or cash killer to get the extra 20-30 million out of a side, and I don't really want to lose them. Yeah, he had another leg, and I was scared that I would DC in a second, but luckily everything gone well here. And yeah, the cache is looted by the MTU, so I'm going towards the MTU now, killing more and more rats on the way to it. Yeah, not close enough to the MTU yet. And what will it be? Another 30 million. So it's actually worth going for the caches if you can and have the time. And I really like the MTU method because it means I can shoot MTUs. Can shoot the caches up to 57 kilometers and drop my MTU. So sometimes you will see me dropping the MTU, going for the first cache while approaching the second cache already, and just do a big circle to clear all the caches, and then at the end I will scoop my MTU. But it's really depending on the sites and how often, how many caches there will spawn. Yeah. We're in the last 3 rats, and it's went so far pretty smooth, and the cache will have 8 million in it. It's actually frustrating sometimes how the caches will drop, and that's why I'm going for the extra caches, because having 8 million in a bioadaptive is literally shit. I don't know why they don't drop more sometimes. Yeah. Third room, same thing here, deactivated my shield booster. And here we have a pretty nasty room, which is actually super dangerous. So what I do here is approaching a cache and kiting the rats a bit. I loaded faction missiles to have more range, and going for the first breeze, realized it's not in range, so I'm switching to just a random frigate. I sorted by distance to just have a better overview what's closer to me, because I don't care about what I'm shooting, at least I'm shooting something in range. And yeah, the rats are dying super quickly, but you see the priests are wrapping a lot on these rats. Heated my web here for the extra range, and now we entered a speed cloud, which is annoying because I can't loot the cache now, because I can't just reapproach it, and because the rats will catch me then. So I'm just approaching the gate and will drop my M2 later. Yeah, it's pretty simple. They're dying super quickly, but it's just a lot of rats to kill here. I'm just shooting the frigates first, especially the priests, because I don't want to deal with the reps. And here you can see like I have a lot of damage on me when you go into range, so I'm start shooting the first cruiser, and you will see it will wrap a bit, some shield warnings, always nice to hear. And the first cruiser will die in a second. And now continuing with frigs again. And yeah, that's probably one of the hardest waves to encounter if you don't know what to do. But you have to kite survive. It's not the thing where you can go all in, just approach the gate and let's go. Because they're all shooting EM damage and EM is the lowest resistance. But luckily all the stuff in here is pretty slow, so there's no issue clearing this wave. Now I'm approaching the MTU because there are only a few reds left. Still killing priests because they wrap the cruisers. Sorted a bit, and another 40 million. So we ended up with around 100 million this side. Which is decent, I would say, but before I was running T5 Darks and I averaged out on 80 million per side. Which is, if you compare it, pretty bad for a T6 side. And yeah, here I'm just trying to make a filter for the Abyssal because I don't have a cannon in my cargo. And yeah, I'm playing around with it a bit. At this point the side is already done and I have 5 minutes left, so I don't have any hurry anymore. No gankers at all. Always nice to see. I'm just swapping to the 40 there because I have the filaments in it. And yeah, still setting up a filter, playing around with it. I'm rarely using filters, but it's probably handy to have. That's why I did it. Quickly repairing. And yeah, here we can see 110 million, 60 million in server charges. So would I recommend T6s? Probably not if you're a beginner, because it's way harder than T5 sides, way more risky. But at the end you don't do that much more damage. It's more about the peaks you can get. You can have like a huge drop at one point, and that's the reason why I did them. And now I will run a second side. Most of the time I run 3 sides in a row because that's how long my booster's holding. And sometimes I manage to squeeze in 4 sides if I'm quick, but here I'm testing out a bit more, don't care too much about the time. And we're starting off with another side. And this wave shows clearly how strong the Cerb is when you're shooting the right damage type. Normally this wave takes for ages because of the remote webs. But here you can see me just walling through the armor of these ghosting reds. And everyone who flies the T5 Cerberus knows how frustrating ghosting reds can be if you can't hit them and they just remote web each other. Yeah. And here you can see me killing the first cage, approaching the second one to kill that with my drones. It's always nice to see how many suppressors are there in these sites when you don't need them, and how less there are when you have the drone waves where they're actually useful. But yeah, I'm shredding through the cruisers here real quick. Don't even need my web because I'm applying full damage nearly. I think I'm doing 1200, 1500 per hit, which means I'm on the damage cap nearly. Yeah, shooting the webbing red just because it's annoying while I'm approaching the caches. Yeah, now I'm approaching them too again. The wave is already done. There's no re-sweat here anymore, so I can set zero velocity on it. Decycling my shield booster because of the cap, so I can regain cap. And here we have another 20 million in the just in the caches. And that's the reason why I love to go for the caches. It's just increasing your IS power dramatically. And especially with the drones you don't use anyways, it's just free money. I use a pack red, and I would recommend to use a pack red because it's a bit faster in pulling the racks, and you rely on the time. If you wait too long for the racks, you will die on the side, and that's why I've invested the 50 million in the pack red. But I don't see me wasting 300 million in a magpie, because sometimes you forget to scoop them or whatever, and losing 300 million is extreme. Yeah, approaching the cache, looting it. I was a bit greedy here, waiting for the third cache to getting pulled in by my M2. I could already left the side if I wouldn't waited for it, but I didn't have any time issues, and here I got a 40 million drop. So it's actually 1/3 of the loot I'm getting per side is just from the external caches. And here another trickle haven wave, remote wrapping wave. Just with kikis. Kikis are actually a bit more dangerous because they apply perfectly on you and they ramp up extremely high. Killing the starving Demarek here first, so I don't care about my cap, so I can perma run my shield booster. And because of the 3 ghostings, I realize how bad my range is and I'm barely hitting it. Here I realized 17 kilometers. So I decided to drop my MTU, quickly go for the caches with my drones, and approach the Kiki plop. I start shooting the first Kiki till I realize how extreme the remote webs are. I think I will heat in a bit here. Oh yeah, now I'm heating. And now I go for the Redivers. Because I don't want to waste time on remote webs, and I have to kill them anyways. Sadly, all my drones died, I don't know how. Sometimes it happens. Yeah, the first Rediver's dead, and now I'm going for the second one. I have to save a bit heat on my web here. I don't want to burn it too hard in case we need it in the next room. And now I'm going for the ghosting Kikimoras first, because if they die first, I apply better to the other ones. And yeah, after the reps are dead, you see how quickly they die. I took a bit long here in this side, because I didn't know exactly what to do. So that's a point where I could improve. But overall, I'm still in the time limit. I entered the next room with like 10 minutes left. So in that case, I'm completely fine. Yeah. The scene here is probably one reason. There was a speed cloud and I'm slingshotting myself out of missile range of these Kikimoras. And yeah. Approaching them again and they approach me, luckily. But that's a bit annoying. You have to watch out a bit for it. And 30 million in the cash. That's so frustrating, seeing only 30 million in one room. I mean, that's... if you get 30 million every room, it's like 90 million average per side. I don't think that's worth running T6s, but it's still good ISK. 400 million per hour, or 3 to 400 million per hour is still good. And here we got another Reclaiming Wave. How funny. One side, 3 Reclaiming Waves, and early in the side we had 2 Sleeper Waves. So I hope I don't get 3 Cinnabar Waves in a row, but yeah, you can only hope. I never got it in T5 side, so I hope I will not get it in T6s as well. And yeah, because of the exotic bonus, the cruisers are dying super quickly here. Going for a ghosting real quick to improve my application a bit. And here I realized I don't have any twins anymore, so I don't care about the external caches, which is sad, because it's just a waste of money. I only scooped one, but it takes too much time if I go with Melissa's fault. So I just approach the bioadaptive, killing the fricks on the way, the webbing fricks first, and you just see here how I thread through them. I could probably load faction missiles to have a better application on them, but it goes so fast that I don't even care about it. And reloading would probably take a bit longer than just shooting the missiles I have in my clip. Yeah, I thought about switching, but yeah, especially with the signature cloud now on me, I don't really care to switch missiles. Because of the signature cloud, I will probably fully apply to the frigates now. And another 11 million in the side. That's some random bullshit from CCP. I really don't understand. Yeah. Quickly killing the last frigates. And here the last frigate is dead, so I'm going out and I run 3 sides. The third side I didn't record it, and I made 400 million in 1 hour, so it's actually good money for what it is. Would I recommend flying T6 exotics? That's a hard question I thought about, and I would say yes and no. If you're just starting running Abyssal sites with the Cerb, I highly recommend flying T4 and Tier 5 Darks first, because you just have to learn what waves exist and how to deal with each wave. But if you're an experienced player running T4 and T-Darks constantly and pretty consistent without dying, I would recommend it, because as you saw, I made 100 million per side, which means I make 20 million more in average than a T5 dark side. And because it's a T6 side, I can get better drops. But I flew 5 sides and I made around 500 million, which means it's pretty rare to see a extremely good drop, but it can happen. I guess I was just unlucky. Or CCP hates me, I don't know. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and leave me your feedback if you like these writing contents as well.